Namaste. Today we are speaking on why spirituality is a must. Why is it that the subject of spiritualism, which is ignored throughout the world, why it is a must, why it is necessary, why it is imperative if we do not wish to destroy ourselves and this earth, which, as you all know, it's happening and we are doing. So for that, we have to understand the mind first, because mind is what we are, not who we are, but what we are. It's the quantum, and it's the mind which is making us experience, making us do what we feel and what we desire and what we understand about life. Mind also, as we know, is dualistic. It can function only in duality, between this and that. And whether it's happiness, sadness, good, bad, positive, negative, truth, lie, etc., etc. So, in choosing between this and that, mind uses over 98% of its capacity in intellectual conceptions. It is intellectually conceptualized into everything, whatever has been given to us from thousands of years. Like take for example in India, we are still ranting and chanting on those complex Sanskrit which nobody seems or nobody is able to translate properly. We are blindly chanting on that, following that. What was prevalent 2000 years before, what was meant for the people living during those times, we are still doing it. So mind needs to evolve. It's evolving only materialistically, not spiritually. It is doing only intellectually and not intelligently. So I'm sorry to say, and I feel in fact sad to say, that mind, for the majority of us, is behaving in a very stupid manner. All because our soul is dormant. All because we do not know how to awaken the soul which checks and guides the mind. And in spite of being potentially divine, that art thou. In spite of being that, imagine. We have an idiotic mind sitting with us. I know it's a very bold statement. Many of my viewers would not appreciate that, considering that their mind is idiotic. But whatever is said and done, whether you believe it or not, it's 1% of the population out of 7.5 billion people, only 1%. I would say even less than 1%. 80 to 100 people are ruling this world. 1% of the population has more wealth, as given statistically, by the rest of the world. 1% of the rulers who are ruling with such arrogance, and the remaining 99%, we become slaves of them. We become blind followers of them. This conditioning of the mind has been going on for thousands of years, starting from parents, teachers, gurus, religion, society, community, government, you name it, media, marketing, everything which comes from outside into our mind, which we are gathering and accumulating, which we call as knowledge and which we are very proud of. Of course, our scripture said knowledge is darkness, because it only evolves materialistically and it evolves in quantitatively, in a quantitative manner. So, with that sort of conditioning, listening to experiences of others, following them blindly, our intellect, our knowledge is of the past. Is of the past. Every thought extracts from its memory past knowledge, evaluates, analyzes, calculates, and projects that into the future, bypassing the present. Bypassing the present. That is why our subject of spiritualism, in its process of spirituality, speaks so highly of meditation as the final step to your evolvement, to your reaching towards awakening of the soul. What is meditation? Nothing but silencing the mind, silencing the intellect, making your mind aware of its own thoughts, feelings and actions. That is what meditation is. But again, right from our masters to our gurus are teaching us a different sort of a meditation, in all sorts of vipassana to transcendental meditation, which is either for 15 days or a week. Whereas actual meditation is to be in meditative awareness, meaning is to be in silent awareness of your own thoughts, feelings and actions, moment to moment, unrestricted by space and time. That is what is meditation. Otherwise it's just therapeutic. It has nothing to do with your spiritual evolvement. So if 1% of the population is ruling this world and 99% are followers, you can understand the mind which we are so proud of, the mind which is supposed to be so phenomenal. It is phenomenal to that 1%. Because the spiritualism does not understand the difference between the divine and the devil. It purely understands its own intelligence. It's all intelligence as to which direction it is going. And all successful people are very intelligent. They may not be intellectually with many degrees. They may be failures intellectually in their degrees and not as a scholar. But yes, they have a very creative mind. They have a very intelligent mind. They are not using the past knowledge of others. They are not using the past knowledge of others. So since the line of the stupidity of the mind is, there are so many factors. Again, on my whiteboard, I wrote down so that I should not forget while telling you on all the stupidities. First of all, I have mentioned that the mind is 80% negative, as given by the foundation of science. Mind is 80% negative. Can you believe it? And we talk about positivity. Then, how does it become negative? Because conflicts are arising due to choice. In duality, mind, when functioning through duality, giving us the permission to choose between this and that, we are choosing selfishly. for our me and mine. So, selfish, me and mine. And what happens after that? Then we cling to our likes and dislikes. Whatever we have chosen out of our likes, we cling to that. We attach. We attach. Only 1% of the people have superior brains. We have a false impression that I know all. Every person feels I know much more than the other because it survives on ego. And not only that, it lives under insecurity and fear. Imagine. So many characteristics which are unfavorable to our growth, to our evolvement. It feels I know all. It feels superior, all the time superior when it's interacting with another person. I know all. No? And this creates illusions. That is why the mind is illusory. It's the false self, the thinking self, where thoughts are coming out from the past through its intellectual conceptions, where everything has been named and provided and demanded and dictated by others. And not you. You are nowhere. And you have this false impression, I am that. I am the mind. But you never say I am the mind. You say my mind. So, it's an illusion. It creates illusions. It's the false self. The thinking self is the false self. It's the false self. And thinking is always from the past into the future. From the past going into the future. Every single thought of yours, always remember, it originates from the past. Unless they are thoughtless thoughts, in pure observation, without any prejudice, without any bias, without any precondition, without any analysis, without any evaluation. If it is pure thoughtless thoughts, like Jiddu Krishnamurti said, choiceless awareness, choiceless observation. When it is choiceless observation, without putting the mind, you should know, consists of the subconscious, conscious and the superconscious section. The soul functions from the silent zone of the mind, superconscious section. And the conscious section is hardly 1% or 1.5% as given by neuroscientists. The remaining 98% is subconscious. And as a result of all this, of all the above that I said, what happens? It is full of insecurity, wanting more and more. In spite of whatever you may have, a human mind still remains insecure. How worse can that be? Even the billionaires are insecure. I don't know why. They want more, more and more. So, the mind goes on a roller coaster ride of pleasure and pain, of duality, of happiness and sadness, does not know what to do. It's lost. It's lost. And then after that, a common mind, an ordinary mind, a sleeping mind, as said by our scriptures, even while we are awake, the mind sleeps. 98% of the minds are sleeping, even while awake, thinking that they are awake. Sorry, they are not awake, it's sleeping. Not in its literal sense, but in the philosophical sense. So mind can be manipulated by whom we believe, because the mind functions primarily on belief. We think, we feel, we act what we believe. And if we are not careful of our beliefs, it leads to faith. And if it's a blind faith, it leads to war, killing one another like we are seeing today. So, belief is the origin of the functioning of the mind, from where everything originates. All your feelings, thoughts, actions, desires, on what you believe. So you have to be very careful of your beliefs. And the belief is all based on others' experiences. What, say, a guru is telling you of his own experience, and you are believing that blindly. Who practices what you are told? We are basically blind followers of religion and politics. Not realizing. Religion separates. Like mind separates the absoluteness of the spirit into two, into duality, to experience life. Religion separates between one God and another. Imagine, demographically it separates. Community-wise it separates. It separates. And not only separates, then it clamps on you that for thousands of years you're going to repeat that like a parrot. And that's what we are doing. Every religion, every scripture of every religion goes back centuries, and we are just repeating. Every single supposed to be spiritual article today is speaking of religious scriptures, of what was mentioned thousands of years before for those people. That's what religion is. It's exhausted. That is why the modern youth is not ready to accept all those old traditions and rituals, all those dogmas. They're not ready to accept. So, mind can be manipulated by whom you believe. And we are blind followers. We become illogical and irrational in our subconscious thoughts. In a subconscious thought. Can you imagine? I was shocked when I heard on YouTube 98% of the mind functions subconsciously, in auto mode, in lower consciousness, meaning unconsciously, in auto mode, because the mind is designed to work in auto mode. Once you have learned how to swim consciously, you do it subconsciously. Once you know how to drive consciously, you do it subconsciously. Mind does not require the consciousness, so it completely tries to eradicate and remove, not realizing that consciousness is very important. Irrespective of whether you know or not, if you become conscious, the mind will slow down from its multitasking. It will become focused, it will become centered, it will concentrate better, it will become single-pointed. That's another form of meditation. So, 98% is subconscious. That's another very big defect. And we never listen to the soul, which silently keeps warning us whenever we are crossing any limit. The soul, the true self, the observer, the watcher, the witnesser keeps trying to tell us. That is why it goes dormant, because we do not listen. We, meaning the mind, the thinking self, does not listen. It does not listen. The desires and emotions of the mind is too strong. And our decisions are too slow. Too slow. We are not confident because of our insecurities. Decision making is very slow. Decision making is a very important chapter in business and materialism. Decision making. Everything revolves around what decision you have made. It optimizes everything. It's the root cause, decision making. What decision a politician has made for this country reflects for many years. Can you imagine how important decision making is? 98% of us or 99% of us do not make proper decisions in life. And then we blame others and we blame destiny for our wrong decisions. So our decisions are deceptive, defective. We think we have made the right decision, but no. And then, whenever something wrong has happened to somebody, or somebody is suffering through some illness, we have this false impression within our mind, it will not happen to me. It will not happen to me, it's happening to the other person. Imagine what a deceiver mind is. And like I've said, it is prejudiced, it is biased, it is preconceived with old conceptions, and the manipulators and the religious leaders and many more inculcate hatred into us for others, for other religions, etc., which is also very wrong. Like, for example, if a person goes on a street and starts lecturing on love, he'll not be able to collect or amass any number of people or person to listen. But if he speaks on hatred, he'll collect a large number. I don't know why. Why does mind go more towards hatred and less towards love? The moment you speak about hatred, you'll get many followers. And that is what is happening. Each intelligent mind is using this weapon to make you into a follower. And as a result, what happens? Herd mentality. Herd mentality. Whether it is in fashion, whether it is in food, whether it is in stock market, there's a herd mentality. We blindly follow. We blindly follow. Herd mentality. Then another characteristic. These are the attributes of the mind. Can you imagine the negative factors? Judging others. All the time we are judging everything outside. Never judging our internal self. Never even bothering to judge internally. We are judging outside. And the foundation of our mind is based on blind beliefs, like I said. And the fuel of the mind, which is desire, is non-ending. It's incessant. More and more. You hardly come across a person who's content. Contentment is the root of evolvement, is the seed of evolvement. It's the foundation of evolvement. It's only after you are content, irrespective of whether you are poor or rich, that good characteristics like humility, simplicity, giving credit to others, all these arise. And what mind suffers from is attachment, which we mistake that as love. Anything that we are attached to, we say we love this. Whether it's a material thing or a human being, it's attachment. It's possessiveness. It's full of expectations. And we coin that word as love. How beautifully it is said by someone that we fall in love. We never rise in love because it's full of attachment. You always feel we are right. Always. Feel we are right. I hope I'm putting this at the right angle, putting this board at the right angle. Always feel we are right. Because of all these factors, some of the factors, there are many more, but whatever I could think of, we are not only deteriorating within our own selves, we are deteriorating, we are destroying this earth, as we can see, from ecological disaster to climate change to destruction all around, to deforestation, to corrupting the mind. And we think ourselves to be very wise. What a deception. We only know how to look down on others. So for a common man, we cannot use this term, that art thou, you are that divine. No, because you have that divine intelligence. Because mind is considered to be phenomenal. It is expressed and exhibited only in the 1%, not in the 99%. I know you're not going to like what I'm saying, because it sounds very negative, but these are the facts. I do not know whether you'll agree to it or not. People like me, who are bold enough to say such things, who are bold enough not to speak what you want to hear. 99% of the preachers and the gurus restrict themselves not to speak the truth because truth hurts. They are marketeers. They market what you want. Like you see it on TV and like you see it on news media to everywhere. They are marketeers. They need an applaud from you. They need smiles from you out of their wit. But here are the basic characteristics of the mind. That is why the first one is 80% of the mind is negative, not given by me, by the foundation of science. 80% of the mind is negative with all these negative factors, which is so shameful. I know I'll remain a non-entity by highlighting all these, but that's what the mind is. I was thinking of mentioning this, the title as A Stupid Mind, but then I changed it to a positive tone. Why spirituality is a must. To be spiritual, you have to be aware of your thoughts and actions. You have to be self-aware. You have to self-observe in order to think in a right way. Until and unless you are self-aware, you know your own self inwardly and not your mind. Your mind taking you on a roller coaster ride. That is the meaning and purpose of life. Self-aware. Self-observe every single thought of yours instead of discriminating and judging others. And you will evolve. And you will transform. You will become something better in life. Thank you very much for listening.